Welcome back to the channel Hum of Programming. In today's session, we will be creating a new series of programming in Java, right? In this series, we will learn about core Java. After completing this, we will move on to JSP and J2EE, which are the advancement of Java, right? So before getting into the course, I will let you to know about the course objective, right? So after completion of this course, what you can able to do is you can learn the basic terminologies that are used in developing a core application, that is using Java. What are all the terminologies that are used, right? After that, you will learn to execute your Java program from the command line as well as from an editor, right? So you can create an applications using the frameworks. After that, we will learn about input and output functionalities. So you will be able to manipulate files, directories and file systems, right? So you can read and write from and to a file, right? So we can perform database operations with your Java program, right? And finally, you can create a complete desktop application with core Java, right? So what are the requirements for this course is you will need to have a JDK, NetBeans IDE and Java DB, right? Which is nothing but a database for manipulating your some of the operations, right? So these are a course objective and prerequisites of learning Java, right? So to learn Java, you should have JDK in your system, as well as for deploying any database based applications, you will need to have Java DB, right? So let me tell you a brief intro of Java, right? So Java is a purely object oriented programming language. So as I told in C#, we can't write a C# program without a class. Java is also a purely object oriented programming which we can't write without a help of class, right? So here, this Java language is introduced by Sun Microsystems in the year 1995, right? So initially the language is not called as Java. So initially it has been called as Vogue, right? So Vogue is nothing but a tree which is famous for producing coffee, right? So this tree is located in an island called Java. So when Java was initially introduced by James Gosling, it has been named as Vogue, right? So at that time there was no language called Java, right? So the initial release of Java came with the name called Vogue, right? So after providing several releases, they have finally renamed it as Java, which is nothing but an island in which the Vogue tree is there, right? So this is about a very brief introduction and history of Java and the naming history of Java. So this is the original history behind Java. However, if you Google, you can find n number of histories, like, so there will be in n number of histories, right? So those all are not reliable. So the original history of Java is this. So then you might have seen the logo of Java as a coffee cup, right? As I told you, the oak tree is famous for producing coffee. The logo of Java is designed to be a coffee cup, right? So this is a history of Java. Let's move on to the concepts of Java, right? So Java is a purely object oriented programming and it is a platform independent language, right? So why we call Java as a platform independent language is you can run your Java program in any of the platforms, such as it can be either Windows, Linux or Solaris operating system, right? So here, when we compile our Java code, so normally you might have seen that when you compile your C programming code, so you will get an additional file called object file, right? Similarly, you will get an file in a bytecode format when you compile Java program, right? So if you are having that bytecode formatted file, you can run your Java program in any of the operating system that is having Java virtual machine, right? So here this animation lets you know when we compile a Java program with a JavaC compiler, you will get a bytecode representation of your program which is used to run your Java program in any of the platforms, right? So this is a major advantage of Java, right? So whenever you hear the term, you should remember the main features of Java, which is purely object oriented language and it is a platform independent language, right? These two are the main features of Java, right? So this is about brief intro of Java. Let's move on to how to create a class and how to create variables and all those things, right? So before that, we can learn the basic syntax and semantics of Java programming language, right? So what we will learn in this particular chapter is we will learn how to create a simple Java classes. We will learn to create a variables, how to manipulate strings, and how to implement decision making statements and how you can iterate with loops, right? And we will learn about creating arrays in Java, right? After that, we will learn about constructors and methods, and we will learn about the importance of the keywords, package and input statement, right? So let's move on to our first topic, which is create simple Java classes, right? So as I told you before, the Java program cannot be created without the help of class, right? So here let's see the structure of our Java program, which is package followed by package name. This is the very first line of your Java program when you are creating your Java program with an editor such as NetBeans, right? So these two statements, package followed by your package name and input followed by your package name, is optional, right? So these two are similar to header files in C language and namespace used in C# language. So here package is nothing but a collection of classes, right? So if you are creating a program, you can create a new package with the keyword package. So right, so we will learn how to create a package in our upcoming session. As far as now, just look at the structure of your Java program, right? So here the very first line of your Java program will be package followed by your package name. After that, import package, right? So in a C program, if you want to use printf and scanf functions, you will include stdio.h header file, right? Similarly, if you want to use any of the classes that is defined in any other packages, you should import that package using the keyword import, right? So anyhow, these two lines are optional, right? After that, our class comes, which is of the prototype access specifier followed by the keyword class followed by your class name, right? So here in Java, the name of the class should be in camel format, which follows the convention. The first letter of your term should be capitalized and the first letter of subsequent terms should also be capitalized. This is a convention followed by Java for creating a class name, right? One more thing to note here is, in a Java program, the class name in which your main function resides must be similar to the file name of your Java program, right? So I am just telling it theoretically. So after telling it theoretically, I will give you an example, right? So just listen to it and we can explore more with the demonstration, right? So here public is nothing but an access specifier which allows your Java program to be run anywhere, right? Again, class is a keyword and followed by your class name. This class name is user friendly name, but you should keep the conventions of Java, right? So inside a class we can have variables or fields, main method, any constructor if we want to add, or any other user defined functions. So this is a very basic structure of your Java program, right? So let's have a simple example of demonstrating this example, right? So for that, open NetBeans IDE. So to open NetBeans IDE, to download NetBeans IDE or JDK, I am giving a link in description. Kindly check it out, right? So here in a NetBeans editor, click on File, New to create a new project, right? So File, New Project. Clicking on File, New Project will open a Create New Project dialog box in which you can create your own Java program, right? So here new project dialog box is opened. So just wait for few seconds, it will load the content. So here what we are going to create is a simple core Java application, right? So for that you need to select the category Java from your left pane and select Java application in your project pane, right? So once you select these two, click on next, right? So when we click on next, you will be prompted to enter a name of your Java program. Just I am giving it as hello world, right? So as it already exists, I am giving it as hello world 1 and click on finish. NetBeans IDE will load your Java project, right? So when the Java project is loaded by your NetBeans window, it will be very similar to the structure we have just seen, right? So in that structure, there will be a starting line will be package, the second line will be the import statement. So here this import statement we have to add if we want to add any of the classes or functions inside a package, right? So after that we can have the structure of our class, which contains declaration of variables, definitions of methods, right? So this is a skeleton code which we get when we create a Java program with NetBeans, right? So here, as I told, the very first line of your Java program is package. After this, we can add any input statement whenever we have a need to use the built-in functions or classes, right? So for now, we don't need any of the packages or any of the classes, so we can skip that and we can continue with our class, right? So here the first structure of your class contains the keyword public, which is nothing but an access specifier which is used to make your program to be run from anywhere, right? After that we are having the class keyword followed by the name of your class, right? So here this is a skeleton code which we have got. In this skeleton code, the name of the class is followed by the convention camel, in which the first letter of your class name is capitalized. After that, the first letter of subsequent term is also capitalized, right? So this is a convention followed by Java for creating a class name, right? So inside a class we are having our main function, right? So in this, the main function is having the prototype as public static void main of string args, right? So as I told you before, public is an access specifier which makes our class or functions to be run or called from anywhere, right? So that's why the main function of our program is having the access specifier public, right? After that we are having the keyword static, right? So in general, we will call every functions with the help of an object, right? So this main function should be called without an help of object, right? For that we have made our main function to be static. So the purpose of using static function is that static functions can be called without the help of an object, right? So that is why the main function of your Java program is static, right? After that, void, so which literally means the main function is not going to return any values, right? So if you are going to return any value, you can change this data type of your main function, right? After that, the name of your function, and the default main function is having one string type argument, right? So here this is a prototype of our main function. We need not and we can't change this prototype of our main function. So if you attempt to change the prototype of your main function, you will get an error message, right? So here this is all about our structure of Java program. So there will be a package and input statements. After that, there will be a class. Inside it we are having main function, right? So if you want to add any variables, you can add it, right? So now we are going to create a variable in Java. So to create a variable, the syntax followed by Java is data type followed by your variable name. So if you want to assign any value, you can use the assignment operator to assign a value, right? So in this statement implies that the variable of type int is assigned a value of 5, right? So you can either assign a value or prompt the user to enter some value, right? So this is about declaring variable, right? So to declare a variable, you should use the data type followed by your variable name, right? So now we have created a variable. Now what we are going to do is we are going to read a value for the variable s from the user, and we are going to print it, right? So to print a statement in Java, we can use the class system.out.println. This is a statement which is used by Java to print a statement. Here either you can use system.out.println or you can use system.out.print or print, right? So both of these functions allow you to print a statement or a variable. So the difference between print and println is print function doesn't create a new line for your statement, right? However, println creates a new line after each statement, right? So here println is similar to ln is similar to /n in your C programming language, right? So now we can print a statement such like welcome to Java, right? Just save this, and if you want to run this program, you can simply click on this play button, right? So just click on that and wait for few seconds for your editor to run your program, right? So now our output window is opened, which shows us welcome to Java and after that 0, right? So welcome to Java is a statement which we have given inside a println statement. Inside print we have given a 0 object, right? So this is a way with which you can print a statement. So let me explain you the prototype of system.out.println, right? For example, consider if you are having the class named test. So this is our class test. Inside it we are having a function printf, right? So to access this function outside the class, what we will do is we will create an object, and using that object we will call the function, right? Similarly, here system is a built-in class for which we have created an object out. Using that object we are accessing the function inside the class system, right? So this is a brief explanation of your system.out.println, right? So here println is a function, out is an object of the class system, and system is a class, right? So this is all about printing a statement. To read a value from the user, we need to include a built-in class called scanner, which is available in the package java.util, right? So here util is our package. Inside it is containing a class called scanner, which is responsible for reading a value from the user, right? So to include a built-in package in your program, you should use the keyword input followed by the package. Here we have used java.util.scanner, which will input all the subclasses and subfunctions available in the class scanner. So if you want to access all the classes and functions available in the util package, instead of providing util.star, you can simply give it as util.star, which will input all the classes inside the package util, right? So here we need to use only the class scanner, so we can just provide it as util.scanner, right? So here what we are going to do is we need to create an object, right? So to create an object, so the syntax is class name followed by object name equal to new class name of, right? So as I told in our C# session, so class name followed by object name will create an object. So in order to allocate a memory space for that object, we are using the keyword new, right? So in using this syntax, we can create an object for the class scanner, right? So our class name is scanner, so we can create an object like s1 equal to new scanner of. So inside it, what we are going to do is to print a statement, we used the object out, right? Similarly, to read a value, we should use the object in, right? So this is a way you can read your program. Now, so we have created an object for the class scanner. Now we can read value of this object using the value s1, right? So what we are going to do is s1 dot next of, right? So this s1 dot next will do is, so what this particular line s1 dot next int of will do is, it will wait for the user to enter a value, right? So the actual function to be used here is next of alone. If we are having our variable of string type, we can keep it as just next of itself. But in Java, every value is considered as a string, so we need to convert string to a respective data type. In this case, we are having the data type of our variable as int. So here what we are going to do is convert the default string into integer type, right? So s1 dot next int of, right? So s1 dot next int of will make your compiler to wait for the user to enter some value. Now we can store this value inside our variable yes, right? So again we are getting an error as non-static context cannot be referenced from a static context. So here the main function is of static type, so which should contain only the static variables or objects, right? So I am going to make our variable as static, right? So now s equal to s1 dot next int of, then print the value of s. So the value of s is plus s. So in Java, to concatenate a set of string with variable, we need to use the operator s. Now save and run your program. So the first two lines, welcome to Java, and 0 has been printed. After that, the cursor is waiting, right? The compiler is waiting for the user to enter some value. I am going to provide a value as 5. Now enter. So the value of s is 5, right? So this is a way with which you can read the value for a variable, right? So now what we have done is, we have printed a statement using the line and functions system.out.println, in which println is a function, out is a object of the class system, and system is the base class, right? So similarly, to read a value for a variable, we have used the class scanner, for which we have created an object s1. As we are going to read a value, we used the object of a class system, right? So using this object s1, we read a value for the variable s, right? As Java considers every value as string, we need to convert string into the respective data type. Here we are having the value of s variable to be of data type int, right? So here s1 dot next int of, which will convert your string to integer data type. Finally we have stored it in the variable s, for which we are going to read value, and we have printed that, right? So why we have made this variable to be static is, we have used it inside the main function, which is static. So static function is having a rule that only it can access static variables and functions, right? So that we have made our variable to be static, right? Now we have learned to read and print a statement in Java, right? So if you are having any doubt in this, you can provide your queries in our comment section. I will reply to each and every comment, right? So, and moreover, I would like to ask one thing to my subscribers. So in this channel, I have chosen the medium of communication to be English. What I thought is, it will be useful for all the students from any area, right? So in my area, if people want to have this channel in Tamil, let me know it. So kindly provide your options in comment section. So do you want our channel communication to be in English or Tamil? If you want our communication to be in Tamil, we will create a separate channel for that, right? So let me know your answers, right? So kindly provide your answers for this. And also, if you are having any queries related to reading and printing a statement or creating an objects and variables, kindly provide it in our comment section, right? So with this, we can conclude this session, and we can learn more about Java in our upcoming sessions. So stay tuned with Home of Programming for getting more programming videos, and subscribe to our channel and get instant updates. Thank you.